Hey guys, so I'm just posting this video to show people a rare model that I had obtained a few years back, and I realized that no one's actually done a proper review on YouTube. It's a 1 to 16 scale King Tiger from a company called Forces of Valor. Now, Forces of Valor, for those who don't know, they made their name in the 1 to 32 scale military diecast market way back in the early 2000s. Like, this is an old brochure from them. You can just see they had, tanks, planes, helicopters, all sorts, and they did a huge array of stuff from World War II all the way up to the present day. And they mostly did 1 to 32, 1 to 72nd, 1 to 48 scale. But for a limited time, they did produce these giant 1 to 16 scale models. Since they've now been discontinued, unfortunately. They were originally branded under the name Extreme Metal Series, and the first release was way back in 2004. And they had two different versions of a King Tiger, both, as far as I know, representing King Tigers that participated in the Ardennes offensive. One of them being from the 501st SS Heavy Tank Battalion, and the other from the 502nd. The one I have here is from the 501st, which was this is the model that was released back in 2005. So basically, they did a variety of these models. So there were the two King Tigers that I just talked about, and there were also three variations of the Tiger 1. Two of those were ones that are representative of those driven by or commanded by the German tankist Michael Wittmann, and the third one was a Tiger that was part of the Polish operations in Poland in late 1944. And the other one was a D-Day Sherman, a special edition D-Day Sherman, I think for the 60th or 65th anniversary of D-Day. To my knowledge, I'm not 100% sure if it was for the 65th. Now, I know a lot of people will be questioning where to buy these. You cannot buy them anymore. They are no longer, they haven't been made since 2000, and I think the last one was 2011. But Forces of Valor has been taken over by a new company called Waltersons, but they have promised perhaps in the future that they will release more 1 to 16 scale models, but at present they're unavailable. You can only get them on eBay or on online auction sites. The prices vary. I would say for this particular model, you'd be talking about, depending on condition, anywhere from 900 all the way up to 2,500 euros. I'm based in Munich, so I work in euros, but they really depend on condition. If this one is, I actually own two of these. This one is actually for sale, which I'll get onto at the end of the video, but essentially this one has a few broken pieces inside. I wasn't the original owner of the model. I got this secondhand last year off eBay, and unfortunately there's a few missing pieces, but that does devalue it slightly, but it's still worth around 1,200 euros or so. Really good condition ones, so ones that have never been taken out of the box, ones that are still in their cellophane wrappers and everything. I have seen them go for up to 3,000 euros, but it's very, very rare. Anyway, they are expensive. They only made 2,000. Hold on, if I get this right. So they made about 2,000 of each of the King Tigers, as far as I know. I actually have the numbers here. Sorry, just. Yeah, so the first King Tiger was 2,000 pieces. The second one, which is this one, was 2,500 pieces worldwide. The two Michael Wittmann Tigers, they were 2,500 and then 2,000 pieces respectively, and the Poland Tiger was just 800 pieces, and yeah, so they didn't make very many of them. Now, I've owned all of those models at one time or another. However, the King Tiger is somewhat special, and I felt it deserved a proper review. The reason being is that it has a fully modeled interior, removable armor, and it comes in this giant wooden ammo crate. Whereas all the other 1 to 16 scale models only came in a cardboard, uh, standard cardboard boxes. Very pretty, but still it's not an ammo crate like this, which I think is pretty cool. Yeah, I would say that this model, it's special for a reason. They have put so much effort into creating these, and you can really see that the people that designed the model were really enjoying what they did. They were really passionate, and also because this was the first in the line of the series, I think they really wanted to wow people. So for that reason, I'm doing this video to show you guys, well, what a cool piece of kit this is. So we'll start. The box has already been opened. This is the lid here, so it just opens with the 4 latches on the side, and then you're presented with this polystyrene top, which has 3 different sections in it. One is the instruction manual, so this contains obviously how you put all the accessories together. There's some figures there, 2 Fallschirmjäger, 2 German paratroopers, because this unit fought alongside the 3rd Fallschirmjäger Regiment, so hence why those guys are in the box. And you get some anti-tank obstacles as well, but we'll get on to that later. This is the certificate, limited edition certificate. So you can see there, this particular model is number 1278 of 2500, and it's passed all quality and authenticity standards, signed there as well by the CEO of the company. And you also get a short excerpt from a book by British historian Mike Reynolds, as far as I know. It's a little piece from his book on the Battle of the Bulge, and follows an escape by one of the SS units that tried to battle their way out after being surrounded by the Americans and having to withdraw back to German lines. So that's quite an interesting little book. It's not very big, but it's very hard to remove these, by the way. So if you're wondering why I can't get them out of the box, I'm trying to hold my camera with one hand and do this with the other, and open these with the other. But so you pop this off then, and then you get to another layer, which is all the accessories. Now this model, like I said, it has a few broken pieces on the tank itself, but actually the accessories and the figures, etc., were never opened. So this is all sealed since 2005. This is 20 years ago. Remember, these models are very old. They're 20 years old, but this is all brand new. So that's why it's not on the tank. So when I take the tank out of the box, you'll see it hasn't got any of the pieces fitted. Just in case you're wondering why, because I plan to sell this model. I have another one that's in pristine condition that I own, but this one is surplus to requirements. So I decided not to open these to keep the value up. This is the tank itself in the box, and it has this cellophane wrapper over the top of it. So this is the original wrapping still, but it has been taken off before, but I just keep it on there to keep the tank in good condition. So lay that to the side. So you see the tank is presented. Now this is what we're getting on to. This tank has a few missing pieces. Generally, each tank has 5 of the side skirts on it to protect from mud. Basically, they are mud guards. They are not Schürzen. For those of you who think they are, the Schürzen was used to protect against anti-tank rifles. This is not for that. This is just mud guards on the side of the King Tiger. So they typically have 5 each side, or 4 each. Yeah, 5 each side. Sorry, yes. And this is missing. Well, this only has 4 left of the original 10. And you have the 2 anti-tank obstacles and the two oil drums there, which are actually real metal as well. Everything here is metal, by the way. I should just say the obstacles, the oil drums, except for the hull of the tank. The hull of the tank is plastic, but the turret and gun are all metal, but we'll get onto that in a second. So I'll take the tank out of the box and we'll continue. Okay, this is the tank out of the box here, without the mudguards on it, obviously. So I'll just do a quick once over, and then we'll open up the tank and I'll show you everything inside it. But yeah, essentially, in terms of metal content, these are pretty heavy tanks, but the turret itself, the gun, the tracks are all metal, solid metal. These are actually quite heavy. And the hull, the turret basket, which you can't see at the moment, but the turret basket, the hull, and the road wheels are all plastic. So some of the features of the tank before we actually begin to take it apart. It has an opening commander's hatch here. It has the shell ejection hatch. This is for ejecting shells from the main gun. You've got the rear exit hatch, also suitable for loading shells. The shells are not in the racks here, but typically, if I had taken them out of the box, you would see them at that point, but they're not in the tank at the moment. The loader's hatch is also operable. You have the Nahverteidigungswaffe here, which is the close defense weapon. This fires basically a canister shot or a grenade out of the top at a short height and then sprays steel ball bearings down on top of the tank to shred anyone who's on top of the tank to protect the crew inside. It's a pretty nasty little weapon there, if you didn't know what that was on a King Tiger. You've got the mounting points for removing the turret via crane, etc. So what else? I have the driver's hatch, which is also opening here. It's on a spring-loaded latch, so that snaps back in place. And here we've got the radio operator / bow machine gunner's hatch also opens, and the bow machine gun, which is you can move that around as well. And then the two forward splash / mud guards here, which are also movable. Obviously, this is a 20-year-old model now. There are some things that, whilst it is a phenomenal model, like little things like this kind of bug me with the large hinges, but it's a small price to pay for what it is. Let's see, what else have we got? Yeah, if I turn the turret quickly here, it's very hard to do all this with one hand, so please bear with me. The engine cover here is opening, and you can see the Maybach HL 230 V12 petrol engine inside as well. And you will see when I get this apart, all the fans and radiators are all inside the tank as well, all beautifully modeled. So there's a quick look at the tank while it is fully assembled, and I will now show you how it comes apart. So basically what you do to get this tank apart is you just pull the turret straight up and it comes out. And I'll show you here. It's got the turret basket and everything underneath it, with all the various elevation mechanisms for the main gun. Now, we'll work on the turret first because the hull has obviously a different way of coming apart, but we'll show you this first. So anyway, you basically use your thumb and pull the main gun off. You press against the frontal turret plate, and the gun actually, it's a little bit stiff, but it does pop off like that. So that's the main gun there. You can see there's this plastic piece at the forward end of the breech, which it sort of jams into, keeps the gun on. So I set the gun aside. Again, that's all metal, so it's quite a lot of heft in that. And now, it's very tricky to get this turret to come apart. There are two, you can see this, but there are two little plastic sort of they feel fragile, but it's the floor of the turret is plastic, and these are molded as part of the floor. But you have to press these two plastic sort of snap hooks forward until this edge of the turret, the rear of the turret, slides over them, and then the whole thing comes apart. And it's very tricky to do this, so it's very hard to do on camera. I'll try to get it apart, but I'll just cut the video here. We'll take it apart because it's really difficult, and then I'll show you the inside of the turret. Okay, everyone, we are back. So I have got the top armor of the turret, so you can see here. We'll get on to the interior of the turret in a second, but if you actually turn the armor over, you'll see that even the turret roof is detailed here. So what we've got here, sorry, 2 seconds, I just moved my hand, is the gunner's sights, so the optics there. You can see his eyepieces, or his eyepiece, where he presses his forehead up against there to look out through the gunner's sight. And these tubes here, which showing you with my finger, these are what's called Atemschlauch, or breathing tubes. Now, unlike the infantry, obviously the crews of German tanks could not wear gas masks inside the tank and still operate the tank efficiently. In other words, whilst you were wearing a gas mask, you could not press your face up against the vision ports, you could not operate various parts of the vehicle. So what they did, these tubes actually hold a device that allows the crewman to hook his gas mask up whilst and still be able to use it whilst not wearing it, so allowing him greater freedom of movement inside the vehicle and operate the vehicle more efficiently. So that's what, if you've ever seen the interior of a Tiger 1, it also has this in the forward end of the turret. The King Tiger simply has them placed at the back. And here you can see all the various periscope positions for the commander. You've got the air ventilation, this black thing in the middle here. This is the air, this sucks out all the fumes from the tank. And this little thing here, if I'm zooming in on, that is what I told you earlier. It's called a Nahverteidigungswaffe, so the close-range defense weapon, which fires a little canister shot. That's the trigger mechanism for it. And then you have the inside of the loader's hatch, and all the welding around the inside of the tank as well, and various other details there. So this obviously the coaxial machine gun aperture, which a little piece of info they tell us in the manual was one of the areas of detail that they had really researched. It has a stepped, the armor is stepped on the inside to, so this was an accurate reflection of the rail machine, which it prevents rounds, incoming fire from being deflected into the vehicle. So it's a stepped opening into the vehicle. And obviously, like, it's very, very finely detailed here. All the armor plating, the various scale thicknesses, etc., etc. So it's very impressive, just on the turret armor alone, and that is quite heavy. That is solid metal, right there. So the inside of the turret, then you can see, obviously, with the gun removed, but obviously the gun would be attached there. So hold on, I'll reattach this, and you can see it in its full length. And now the gun's quite heavy, that's why it's pointing downwards, but that essentially is the full length of a pack, or I should say a KWK 43, the tank version of the Pak 43. Absolutely massive gun. And in fact, I do have one of the 1:16 scale Shermans. This gun is longer than the entire Sherman itself, and they are to scale. The Sherman tank would come to about here. So it's an absolutely massive gun. Obviously the most powerful main gun to be fitted to a tank during the Second World War, not a tank destroyer, but a tank. This is the most powerful tank gun of the Second World War. So you can see here, if I zoom in, you've got the coaxial MG34. The reason they used MG34s was because the barrel mechanism changed out to the rear as opposed to the MG42, which changed out to the side, so it was more ergonomically efficient whilst you're in the tank. You didn't have to move the gun or the machine gun. You could just slide any replacement barrels in and through. So it was a very... this is why they stuck with the MG34 in almost all cases for the interiors of tanks. And you've got all the various traverse wheels, traverse mechanisms for the main gun. What might even surprise you is this is just the level of detail they've gone to. It even has a sliding... if I can get my finger here, it's very, very difficult. I may not be able to, but if I get a screwdriver here and show you guys. This little piece here closes off once a main gun is in the breech. And this actually moves on this model. I'm trying to find a way to access it to show you. But here we go. So, right. By the way, that you can load the main gun rounds, which are all metal. By the way, these chaps over here, they're all separate pieces of. They're all machined metal. Each of those rounds, and they stack in these main gun racks at the rear of the turret. They're not in it, obviously; they're in the box. But you can take each round and you can load it into the breech, and the breech actually closes. If I can get my thumb here, you can see that mechanism there. It does. It's a bit stiff, but you can see that it does move. So this is what I'm talking about. The level of detail in this model is absolutely incredible. Just other parts of the turret, you can see there's this is the dial that indicates the position of the turret relative to the chassis of the tank when you're inside. Because sometimes it can be quite disorientating inside a tank. You don't know where the turret is positioned relative to the chassis. This is what tells you that. So it's all this little details. You've got the gunner's seat, the loader's seat, the commander. So it's kind of hard. Maybe I pointed out. So this is the gunner's seat, this is the commander's, and this is the loader's. Now, back to problems with this specific model. There is a little piece that had snapped there, but really, for what it is, it's not a lot of harm done. So I put that to one side. So you can see there in all its glory the inside of the model and the armor, which will face that way. That is the rear exit hatch, which it's supposed to come off, so that's not broken. Just so you can access the two little pins when you're taking them apart. So I'll just lay that there, and then I'll show you the hull of the tank. Okay, so here we are with the hull, and like I said, the top armor is all plastic, unlike the turret, which is unfortunate. It would have been nice. This would be metal, but unfortunately you can't have everything. Anyway, between the two engine filler caps, you've got this armored ventilator cover, which as far as I know, that's what that is. And you just wiggle it side to side and it pops off. And inside there is a screw, and you just get a little standard Phillips screwdriver, star screwdriver, put it in there, and just quite easy to undo, really. It's quite a long screw, so just be patient. And that's it. And now you lift the back up like this. It's still attached at the front, so it's quite difficult. I'm doing this with one hand, but you have to be careful because the glacis plate, the frontal plate here, is actually wedged quite tightly between the chassis sides, so you have to sort of wiggle it this way, and then it pops up at an angle and off the tank. Okay, so I've managed to get it up, and you can see there what I mean. There's little tracks there that the glacis plate slides into, so you pull it up at an angle and it comes away. So first of all, I'll show you inside here. Not particularly detailed underneath there, but at the forward end of the hull you do have the periscope for the driver, and you have a pretty basic end of the of the hull machine gun, I should say. So there's not much under there, but anyway, we'll move on and on to the hull. So this is it's a real masterpiece of modeling, in my opinion. Really, really good effort they've put in here. You can see all the ventilation, the fuel tanks, the drive shaft going underneath the floor of the tank to the final drives and gearbox. And we've got the radios, the driver's seat, the radio operator seat, and yeah, and even here, so you can see this matches the limited edition certificate number 1278 of 2500, and it says it's of the 101st SS Schwere Panzerabteilung. That just means 101st Heavy Tank Battalion, Ardennes, December 1944. You've even got all the torsion bars underneath that, as well as the, as far as I know, there the batteries there as well. And yeah, pretty cool bit of kit. I'll turn it around there. So that's the Maybach. Unfortunately, it doesn't come out of the tank. It is fixed in there, but actually in some of the other models you've got on the Tiger 1 to 16 scale, the engine does actually come out. In fact, it's very nicely displayed in the Tiger 1. It actually comes in its own display box, the engine. So it's a very heavy piece in the Tiger 1s. It's a solid lump of metal with some with a nice display box. So, but unfortunately in this model it doesn't come out. But anyway, here you can see also all the details there for at the engine compartment wall, and yeah, all the treading detail as well. So pretty nice, I would say. And also for a model that is essentially, you know, 2,500 doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're producing something of this detail, that is a lot of work. So I'm very impressed that they managed to make actually the amount of these that they did. Just given, you know, the amount of effort that had to go into just putting this all together. Each model had to be done, painted by hand. Very impressive, in my opinion. Now, one criticism I would have of it is, you probably noticed already that the road wheels are, the tank looks a bit high. It's not that the drive sprocket or the idler are high. It's actually that the swing arms for the road wheels, the springs inside them are too stiff, so they're actually too far down. Now you can modify it to make it, and in fact you can press down on it. The tank does, you know, like you could probably push those up and make the tank look a bit more like it should. But I mean, it's not really a big deal to me, to be honest. But you can see there, it all rolls, sounds like the real thing. To be honest, and yeah, that's really it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. And by the way, if I haven't answered any of your questions, I'm sure a lot of you have questions on this. If you want guidance on price, where to buy, where potentially to find these, or any other questions you might have, who or where I got it from, or stuff like that, just send me a message in the comments and I'm happy to reply. Like I said, I don't make YouTube videos. This is my first ever. I'll try to be as helpful as possible. If I've left anything out, if I've been stupid or whatever, or I've maybe missed a detail or said something incorrect, just I'm happy to be corrected. Yeah, I'll try to produce one of these as well. I do have one of the Michael Wittmann Tiger ones as well. I'll try to produce a video on that, but no promises. I'm pretty busy normally, so like I said, oh yeah, and one thing I should add, I did mention earlier, this model here is for sale. I live in Munich, in Bavaria, in Germany, and unfortunately it's pickup only because the box and the tank, I think they weigh around 35 kilos. So I'm not posting it. It's too expensive to insure, so it would be pickup only. If any Germans out there, or Bavarians I should say, are wanting one of these, well, this one is for sale. I have another one which I'm keeping, and this one, yeah, surplus to requirements. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and yep, maybe see you in the next one. Bye bye. So for all those interested, this is the accessories that I briefly showed earlier. So like I said, it comes with 2 Fallschirmjäger or paratroopers and 2 tank crewmen. I should say tank crewmen, but one of them is actually a Joachim Piper, or SS Obersturmbannführer, or Lieutenant Colonel Joachim Piper. They've actually modeled him quite accurately. Quite a controversial figure, but that is because he led Kampfgruppe Piper, of which this King Tiger is representative of, so that's why he is there. And then you got one of the tank commanders, and obviously they have left off the symbols there on the uniform, but they are quite detailed nonetheless. You can see all the different awards there. This guy is holding a pair of field glasses, and yeah, the paratroopers are quite detailed. Their weapons are over here. You can see a Sturmgewehr 44, STG 44, probably more of you are familiar with, or MP 44, and K98, and that is the commander cupola-mounted MG34 with drum magazine, and you've got all the various pieces of equipment. There's also a map, an accurate map of the Ardennes region, which is you can place in the commander's hand there. These are all metal pieces of track which are used to attach to the sides, to the track holders here on the side of the turret, also acting as extra armor, and all the engine deck grills and toe shackles, etc., etc. So it's all there. None of this has been applied to the tank, but sorry, just one more thing. Yeah, so the ammunition here, this is the ammunition for inside the hull, and beneath this one you can see more of the rounds. These ones go inside the turret, so these ones are all individual, but they're all metal nonetheless. So yep, that's the accessories. So I managed to get all the documentation out as well for you guys. I'll quickly flick through it. This is a 30-page extract from a book from an author called Mike Reynolds. All these documents are beautifully produced, really high quality paper. But you can just flick through there. It's a little bit about one of Piper's unit and his escape back to his own lines after the attack failed in the Ardennes. So that's a very interesting read. This one is it's a nice overview of how they designed the model and the amount of effort they went into it, and little extracts of history about the tank, and it's really nice to read, and just shows you, just again, like I said earlier, just how much work they put into these models. So that's a nice little thing. Then you get onto the instruction manual. This is quite detailed, so I'm not going to it actually opens up like a map. I'm not going to open it all up, but you can sort of see there it's got all the information about how to put all the accessories on it, how to attach everything, how the tank comes apart, what not to do, what to do, etc. So that's quite a beefy thing. You can even see there like how the ammunition gets attached, how the gun how you can even load shells into the gun, etc. Obviously it doesn't fire, but I just want to show you guys all the different, all the shells and the different racks and everything. So what it looks like when it's actually, fully loaded. So again, really nicely produced, high quality paper. And then you get on to the limited edition certificate, which is just printed on a piece of card, but nonetheless hand signed by Unimax CEO, and then you get the number of the vehicle in the series. So it says, this record hereby certifies the total production of this 1:16 scale German King Tiger 501st Schwere SS Panzerabteilung handcrafted piece is assigned production number 1278 of 2500 and has passed all quality and authenticity standards. So that was issued in 2005. And that's the back of it. Like I said, plain piece of card. And that's everything, guys.